What's your New Year's resolution this year? Do you have one for your business?
Let's be honest, New Year's resolutions are a bunch of bullshit. 80% of them are guaranteed to fail within the first 2 months after making them. So stop making New Year's resolutions and start making things happen. At the Dental MBP, we use science to teach people skills to you, the dental professionals. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel, the Dental MBP, and don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss out.
The psychology behind New Year's resolutions shows that it's faulty. New Year's resolutions aren't usually constructed in a way that actually brings about sustainable action, motivation, anything that's going to lead to a long-term change. We write something down December 31st and cross our fingers for January 1st that it's just going to stick and things are going to happen.
Nope. If we're doing it this way, we are destined to fail, basically. And it is so depressing. You can just kiss away losing that weight, your inbox being at zero, and quitting drinking and feeling more grateful every day, because it's just not going to happen if we're doing it this way.
Why is it that we even set out to make these New Year's resolutions? Our evolutionary biology has ensured that when we get those things that we need for survival, neurochemicals are released that help us to feel good. Like all animals, we are designed to avoid pain and to seek pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Now, unfortunately, a lot of these things that we need to seek pleasure for are not really necessary for survival.
Well, that's true. In today's modern society, we might have shifted a little bit as to what gives us pleasure. And that leads us to the most common resolutions that people will make for the New Year's. Usually when we make a New Year's resolution, it's going to be one of three. One is going to be to stop doing something, right? So it's to stop avoiding something is what I mean. So to stop avoiding something like maybe your inbox by chance, the one that's just really filling up with emails. So stop avoiding those and start going through those.
Restocking the supply closet, organizing
it,
something.
There's so many things that we avoid on a regular basis. So a lot of times people will say, I'm going to stop avoiding this. And that's going to be one of their New Year's resolutions. Or it's going to be stop doing something that's not good for us in the first place, like drinking or smoking or any of these habits in modern day that we might have taken on that are not natural habits for us. Or lastly, it's going to be to start doing something. This is always really exciting, right? But it's to start doing something that is not something we typically do, not something that's very natural for us, maybe not even something we actually want to do, like exercising or eating healthy or going vegan or any of these things that people will come up with their New Year's resolutions.
New Year's resolutions tend to set out to either eliminate a behavior that we are familiar with, something that we're comfortable with, that we derive joy from on a daily basis, but we know isn't good for us, so we want to eliminate it. Or it involves us adding a behavior that is really unfamiliar to us, that we're not comfortable with, and we're not looking forward to. So just imagine what that's like. You're either taking away something that you really love to do, or you're throwing in something that you're like, I'm just not excited to do this at all. So it's not a surprise that these can be very difficult things to do.
And these are not just simple habits, right? These are things that are engraved in us. We've got deep roots for all of this behavior that we're asking you to change overnight, right? On December 31st, you should change all of this behavior.
Write it on your list.
Write it on your list.
Next
and
day.
It's done. We should get it done, right? It's really important to understand that these are psychologically and neurologically engraved in us. And we've got these neurological feedback loops that have been created to help us to feel good. So every time I do this behavior, I feel good about it. I do this behavior again, I feel good about it. And to try and break that chain is much harder than you think.
Typically, the behaviors that we set out to change are so difficult to change because they work for us. They're easy. They fit into the schedule the way that we have our schedule. They fulfill that feeling of feeling good or unwinding or whatever it may be, but they are easy for us.
And we all know that they're not good for us, though, right? Like, let's call out the obvious. You know that you shouldn't be drinking as much, or that you should lose weight, or that you should exercise. We all know that. And so it's just a matter of moving past that and setting goals that are realistic for ourselves so that we can achieve it. And too often we get hyper-focused on the end goal, right? This is where I want to be. And we're so focused on that we lose sight of all the steps that we need to take in order to get to that end goal. And so the first thing that I'm going to recommend is stop setting those unachievable goals. And I don't mean that you can't achieve it, but you're not going to achieve it tomorrow, right?
No, it's not something you can set on December 31st and then January 1st it's going to happen. It's planning.
Exactly. You have to plan for it. And by planning, you set smaller goals. Small goals that are going to make you feel good about yourself every single time you achieve them. Even like really simple goals that you can achieve so that you feel good about it. How often do we have a consultant? We pay thousands of dollars for them to come in. Mm-hmm. They give us all these great steps to grow our practice, right? And the goal, the end goal is like doubling your production. So say you want to double that production. We're super excited about it. And now we're tracking our production on a monthly basis. Month 2 comes along. We are not projected to double it at this point in time. Mm-hmm. What happens every time?
Yeah, you lose steam. The team loses morale with it. They lose steam and they give up. Everybody gives up.
That's why 80% of people stop doing the resolutions in month 2. And that goes for your business and your goal setting as well. So make sure that you have smaller, more achievable goals that you guys can set yourself up for success. So in order to do that, the first things first, before you set a goal, is you need to give yourself the energy to do so. And here's 2 little easy ways that you can go about doing that.
The first thing is to acknowledge the accomplishments that you've had this year already. Now, these can be in work or outside of work. Maybe you learned a new skill. You helped someone get past their dental anxiety. You achieved something that you really didn't think was achievable. The big thing is as you go through this from the past year, you're going to start to feel that sense of accomplishment. And it's going to give you that creative space and that drive to want to do more, to learn more, and to achieve more.
Second thing we want to do is to increase serotonin release. And this is by challenging yourself. So challenge yourself to do something new, learn something new, whatever it is. Anytime you can achieve something small and you can say, I did it, you're going to release serotonin. And you're going to create that serotonin feedback loop so that every time you want more, you're going to challenge yourself to do more.
We want to give you some goals that you can set to be able to start small, to get that feeling of dopamine and success, to move towards those bigger goals that you have. The first tip is going to be to become an expert in your practice. This is going to build you up as a team member and as an employee as well. Do you know your practice's vision, mission, values? Do you know how the office got started? You can start there. Do you know your team members? Do you know what it is that motivates them and inspires them and where they want to go in their careers? That might be another thing that you can learn.
Do you know the products and services that are offered in your practice? How often do you go into a practice and they don't even know that they sold something, or that they did whitening in the practice, or that they did Invisalign? They're like, I didn't even know we did that. Learn about your practice.
Yeah, it might be a service that is offered through the assistants and with the doctor. And as a hygienist, you might not know, but make sure to just kind of cross-reference and learn about what it is that one another is doing so you have a better understanding.
And that goes into goal number 2, which is learn something new. So regardless of what you're learning in the practice, learn something outside of the practice as well. In today's society, it is so easy to learn. We've got our audiobooks, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube. There is information, countless information everywhere. So set a small goal. Maybe just learn something new each week, or say, I want to learn something new every day. MBP is a great resource for you. We've got weekly tips and tricks for you on our YouTube videos as well as Instagram. So there's lots of resources for you to learn something new on a regular basis.
And tip number 3, fail, and fail again.
So mean.
As you're going through these learning processes, seeking to understand things, trying different things, setting different goals, there will be failure along the way. But I don't want you to think of failure as you weren't successful and you're never going to achieve it. But every time you set out to do something and you might not achieve it that first time, you do learn something new that for your next approach, you're going to know what not to do or what you could do differently and how to approach it that time.
Yeah, don't be afraid to fail, right? We want failure. We need it. Tip number 4 is go small with these goals. I know we all want to achieve these really big goals and it's so hard for us, but go small. And the reason for this is that we want that dopamine release. Dopamine is proven in every sort of reward-driven system that this is how we motivate ourselves to do more. You achieve a goal, you feel good about it, that dopamine is released, and it's like taking a drug. It's the only happy pill around that I want people to take. It's that dopamine release that's going to ask you to do more for yourself and to start achieving more goals, which will, in the end, bring you to that big goal that you're trying to achieve.
Lastly, tip number 5 is be patient. All good things come in time, and it will take time to be able to reach those goals that you're setting out to achieve. So make sure that you're being patient with yourself, knowing that you're heading in the right direction and that you have the intent set to reach these goals, and celebrate those small victories along the way.
So we want to know, what small goals have you set for yourself? Do you have some really large goals that you want to reach by the end of the year? That's okay too. You can make these, but use those tips and tricks that we just gave you to help break it down and make that dopamine and serotonin release happen for you so that you're feeling good about everything that you're doing and moving towards the goal that you're looking for. In our next video, we're going to help you go through some of those obstacles that you might come across when you're trying to achieve those big goals.
We hope that you have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year, and we can't wait to see what the new year holds for you.
Make sure to subscribe to the Dental MBP and do not forget to like this video.